It's movie time, and we're back again with movie time. Hey everyone, how you doing? Hopefully you had a really great couple of days, and we are on Friday's movie time. And with me tonight is, of course, my co-hosts Olaf and Arpo. Hey Arpo, how you doing?
Was that it? Was that it? Was that? No, okay, it's not here. I'm hurricane watching.
Yes,
Uh,
but hurricanes are a myth, aren't they?
no. They're an advertising slogan to sell water and
Oh,
batteries.
shh! I hid the weather machine.
Oh boy,
Don't let anybody know I have the weather machine. Shh.
it's been an amazing couple of days so far. Had quite a marathon today, and still didn't succeed in getting out of town. So drink up, everybody. This may be my last show. Woohoo!
Excellent. And also with me is Olaf. Hey Olaf, how you doing?
I am doing really good today. Actually,
Excellent.
I had a good day, busy day, but a good day. So it's like, but it's another great day in the great state of Indiana. And of course, I was in Kentucky all day. But it's always a good day when your boss is a little bit of a kind of in an irritated mood a little bit, and you can actually get him laughing and in a good mood before you leave.
That is a good
Uh,
day.
and I found out the way to do that is to
Tickle him?
no. What you do is you pull out your iPhone that you have the Alvin and the Chipmunks album in your music thing, and you start playing chipmunk music,
Cool.
and it just cracks him up.
We the chipmunks,
And what it's like,
CHIPMUNK.
and if you really want to hear, it's like if you want to hear something really funny, that just is just hilarious. Is find uh, the chipmunks in Spanish and have them singing the songs in Spanish. You talk about just hilarious. It's funny, but that just put him into a good mood.
Very cool.
Well, it's like it's like one of the crew. He's always got music playing. Of course, he's always playing Spanish music, which is great music. But I always tease him with him. I said, "When are you going to play some good music?" And I said I'm gonna hijack your speaker and play. I'm gonna play the Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks, just to do it. So well, today I did,
Nice.
and I got them had them both cracking up. So it was a good day.
Oh yeah, that's always fun when it's like you have everybody in a good sense of humor.
Oh yeah. It's too much fun. So it was a good day.
Definitely. It's
Oh,
like,
did I mention my boss happens to be my son-in-law? So
well, then that will make your daughter very happy.
yep.
Because otherwise, that will be a really miserable evening for her.
Yes. So
So yes, it's like thankfully it's like everybody gets now a happy moment in the little cycle. So tonight we
well,
have three really cute stories, but the first one we're going to go from then dark to light tonight, since we've often done the reverse and gone real dark real soon. Let's go with our darkest story tonight. Arpo, tell us about our darkest story tonight.
It was very dark and very gloomy and very scary.
Well, it's scary for a number of reasons.
Yes. It was 1972. Bernardo Bertolucci was filming The Last Tango in Paris. Now, for those of you who have never seen The Last Tango in Paris, it was an X-rated movie about the relationship between an an upper middle-aged man and a 19-year-old girl.
And for all of those who don't understand what X-rated means, it's what NC-17 was before it was NC-17.
Yes. They changed it to NC-17 because movies didn't like being called X. It was like, no, people don't want to see an X-rated movie, but they'll come see an NC-17.
Well, plus the whole triple X thing, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Plus the whole porn industry, you know, X got kind of connected to porn, and obviously directors who were making artistic films that just happened to be rated X weren't thrilled about being equated to porn.
Yes.
And yet,
back to the story.
Sometimes maybe they should. Seems recently a 2013 video emerged with the director of The Last Tango in Paris, Bernardo Bertolucci, talking about a specific scene in which Marlon Brando's character, Paul, rapes French actress Maria Schneider's character, Jean, using a stick of butter as a lubricant. Well, it seems this scene was planned without the actress's knowledge or consent. Bertolucci said he and Brando came up with the idea without involving Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
He said his reason for doing it that way was he wanted her reaction as a girl, not as an actress. In other words, he wanted her to actually experience the rape.
Yes.
He said, I wanted her to react humiliated. I think she hated me and also Marlon because I didn't tell her just to obtain something. I think you have to be completely free. I didn't want Maria to act her humiliation, her rage. I wanted her to feel the rage and humiliation. Then she hated me for all of her life. But he did say that in a way, you know, he felt bad about the decision, but he has never expressed any regret about doing it.
And now,
Schneider in 2006 said she cried real tears during the scene. She also claimed that Brando complained of feeling raped and manipulated by Bertolucci, conveniently glossing over the fact that he was in on the whole thing. So this is actually literally a woman being sexually assaulted on film for the entertainment of audiences everywhere.
mm-hmm. And this article was brought by...
This article is brought to us by Refinery 29.
Okay, so by Refinery 29. Thank you, Refinery 29, for that information.
That's right.
Now,
if you love R29, let them throw a party in your inbox. Ooh.
Yes. Okay, now here are some thoughts on that. Olaf, would you care to do some opener thoughts on that?
I'll turn the light back on now that the scary stories.
Oh, wait. I thought you said the scary story was done. Oh, turn the light back off. Oh, that's just you. Never mind. Okay. You know, I get the fact that he wanted it to be a real reaction, but I'm sorry, not telling the actress that, oh, guess what? You're going to be raped and abused in the next scene. I'm sorry, that's just wrong. I can get that you want the real emotion, but real emotion is scared or something because something jumped out at you,
Mm-hmm.
not because you're about to be sexually assaulted. There's
Yes.
too many other, getting a genuine reaction because something jumps out or falls or something like that instead of trying to create a reaction. I get that. That's okay because something falls, you want that, oh my gosh, what was that? Instead of, okay, it's about to fall, it's about to fall. Okay, now I'll react. Uh, you know, Getting a
Hmm.
true reaction for that, yes, but not for something like that. If somebody's going to be sexually assaulted, whether it actually is a true, full on sexual assault, you know, there's too much psychological issues that can go along with that should not have been done. And I can understand why she would be mad at him and stay mad at him because that's something that's going to stay with you. That's not, and, you know, Marlon Brando being in on it, he should have. He should have kind of gone against the director a little bit and gone, hey, just so you know, this next scene is going to be it's going to be kind of rough. So, but it's just acting. There's nothing real behind it or something. To,
Okay.
I just think that's wrong not to tell
Hmm.
them, but that type of a scene, not to tell them what's going to happen.
First of all, also in 1972, there weren't the protection, I guess, of actors' clauses that there are today. In
Yeah.
today's world, you cannot have nudity you have to go over it step by step by step. And there was also a more recent interview of even somebody who was an Iranian actress who had spoken about the fact that, or I believe she was Iranian, an actress who had said that she was told that the movie she was going to be in was one kind of movie. It didn't turn out the way that, and she was embarrassed about the portrayal that it was there, and I believe sued the agency for that and won in regards for that. It's like, because she said, look, I didn't say that I was going to be in this kind of movie. I was going to be in this kind of movie.
Right.
Okay, so when you're talking about in this particular situation, first of all, for it's like I'm going to use a little bit of a truthism. For it's like you would expect that an actor would stand up for another actor, correct? In this, but you're also talking about Marlon Brando here.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yes.
Yeah, the man who was too spineless to accept his own Academy Award because of a situation that he found social injustice. So therefore, brought instead of going there, at least, unlike with this last director who was like, okay, I'm doing this for a very political reason of not being here because I'm not going to be accepted to come into the country, kind of thing, because of the political situation made, made a point of not showing. He decided because he wanted that he was going to send somebody else by proxy to come and pick up his award for him. First of all, that's very disrespectful to the Academy, one thing. But hey, you know what? It's like he had his political footings, and I'm not going to argue political footings on that. But a man that would do that would not even be man enough to say that his of what his stand on that was, of why he wasn't there. It's like had to get somebody to represent to talk about why he was taking a stand like this.
But the thing that gets me is he sent this really beautiful
Yes, Native
Native
American woman.
American young woman. I mean, she was absolutely gorgeous. She was dressed in a ceremonial thing, but it
A
was
Native
formal
American
Indian
outfit,
dress.
yes.
Yeah, formal Native American outfit.
Yeah.
He sent her to stand up and explain about the social injustice, and that's why he wasn't there, and let her get booed at.
Yes.
Now,
So as I said,
where's the justice there?
for somebody who it's like was spineless and couldn't do that for himself, um, it does not shock me that he would not have protected his fellow actor of turning around and saying, "Hey, you know what? just a heads up here, the scene is not going to be very pleasant. Now, she
Yes,
could.
that's what I was saying. In other words, at least he should have said something to her just to give her like, hey, this is not going to go the way you. This is not going to be a scene like you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, what it should have been in regards to that is not only a heads up, it should have been one of those, okay, I'm not doing this scene unless she is fully informed of what's going to happen.
Right.
Because literally, he could have been charged with rape. He could. It's like the director could have been charged with accessory to rape, had it been a different time, different place. In regards to this, it's like, and still could have been even all those years later. Now that he's admitting that there was a rape that happened, I'm not sure what statute of limitations that they have on that crime, but it's like, that being said, that was literally a crime that was committed. Just like telling it's like, in this day and age, we have actors who, it's like, you have clauses in contracts for reasons, and that's exactly the kinds of reasons of why you have them. It's why agents will not allow actors to perform certain things that they feel are dangerous acts or lewd acts. It's like, if an actor or actress chooses to do that, you must go through, like, with nude scenes, for example, rape scenes. They have to go through the entire scene and what exactly is going to happen in each part of the scene. What can be seen on camera, what can't be seen on camera. There isn't a, you get to have an easy pass and stuff. It's like, again, there are movies that they still try and get away with. Oh, did we mention that you have to be nude for this scene? Gratuitous nudity is no longer an acceptable pass. A lot of actors and agents stand up for that. And something like this, even with the scene, I will liken it to the scene with Hound Dog, when Dakota Fanning was, her character was being raped in that scene. You're still talking about her parents were there. There was consent to, was talked about with her. It was gone over in large detail of what was going to happen in that scene. Nothing was left to chance. And they said, if at any point in time you feel uncomfortable, it's like they can cut away type, it was cleverly done. It was very disturbing for the audience to watch, but for her, she was very carefully protected. In that scene.
Do you think that possibly with these, like the clauses and everything that are in effect now, is it possible that because of this particular scene that you're talking about with Marlon Brando, and it's like, do you think that's maybe she might have had something to do with getting some of this stuff changed?
It's possible, as well as also there are other scenes that have happened in movies where it's like, it started becoming the, oh, well, we can have you take off your clothes during this scene. It's like, nudity clauses came into contracts because it's like actors did not feel comfortable with that. And in terms of also body doubling, things like that, it's like they even get to pick out who their body double is. A lot of actors. It's like they have the leverage to be able to do that, because if they're representing their body, they want to be represented in the way that they feel most comfortable.
It's
with.
like David Schmoller, when he directed a film. Well, I actually mentioned a couple of weeks ago a little horror film called Tourist Trap. It was not a big film, but it's fairly effective. But there's a scene where these college girls decide they're going to go swimming in the nearby lake. And when they came to shoot the scene, he suddenly realized he had not put in any of the contracts that there was supposed to be a nude scene in the movie.
Yeah.
So he just said, hey, are you girls all right if we do this scene in the nude? Or no, what he said was, hey, are any of you girls willing to be naked in this scene? And they all looked at him and said, no.
Yeah, it's like there's a movie that shall remain nameless that was with a bunch of people that back in the day where they asked people if they wanted $75 to take their top off for this, and I was like, at the time the teenagers were like 15 when this
Yeah.
movie came out, so the answer was no.
Yeah.
No, we will not, and because that would have haunted them to the rest of this day.
Yes.
It's like, I'm a minor. I shouldn't be shown drinking beer. This is why also in terms of minors, they don't show them drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
All of these clauses have come in for a reason. And yes, this nudity clause did come in, as well as also all of these other clauses. It's like one of the things that you have to do is you have to disclose to your actor or actress what exactly is going to happen in this scene. And any likenesses, if it's going to be a scene that will be disturbing or will not, or will be portraying them, they have the option to say no. Not going to happen. And you have to choose a different way about it.
Well, actually, surprise was used to quite a good effect at the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Mm-hmm.
The director, they were shooting the last scene of the movie. And
Yes.
so Donald Sutherland and was it Blair Brown that was in that one?
Yes.
Okay. Donald Sutherland's at one end of the park area and Blair Brown's at the other. So the director explains to Sutherland, okay, this is the scene. You two are going to be walking across the yard. You're going to see each other and continue walking on because you're trying to pretend like you're a pod person so the others don't catch you.
Yes.
Then he went to Blair Brown and he said, you're going to be going across the scene. You're going to be trying to remain motionless. You're going to see each other as you cross. And I want you to just give him just a little smile as you pass by him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went back to Donald Sutherland and said, by the way, you're a pod person.
Interesting.
So the scene starts. They're walking across the thing. Blair Brown sees him. He sees her. She gives him a little bit of smile. And Sutherland goes, "Wah!" And she screamed for real. It was a very effective moment to end the movie on.
Well, Alfred Hitchcock did a lot of this interesting stuff, like tying the birds to Tippi Hedren.
Yes.
During the birds. For those who ever see that movie, that was real. All of those screams.
He tortured Tippi Hedren throughout that entire movie.
And it was him behind the scenes with Janet Leigh in the shower for Psycho.
Yeah.
He was the one who pulled back the curtain. And she even admitted in one interview she still takes baths to the day she passed away.
Yeah.
No more showers.
Everybody talks about the how artistic that scene was. That it was so frightening and so horrible, and yet all you ever saw was the knife, swinging around, and her screaming, and the chocolate syrup they were using for blood in the bathtub. And that you never actually saw the knife hit her. But actually, there is one frame where they had a latex dummy that they actually stabbed the knife into, and it's like a split second. You don't really see it, but it registers in the mind, and that's what made that scene so horrifying.
Yeah. It's what makes that scene also, and this is why I'm saying that when you are looking at these scenes, realize these are not, it's like back then they could get away with that. because there weren't those clauses. Because of things like that, this is why these clauses have come in. Rape on any level is not a good thing. Rape on sitting there saying, "Oh well, we should be giving this, scene more realism." It's like, yeah, what you've done is you traumatized someone.
Yeah.
Was that really worth it? As far as
Yeah.
that's concerned, Bertolucci should never have been able to direct again. He should have been in the same category as Roman Polanski was for the longest period of time, accused of actual rape. But again,
And
that
not
was
just rape,
Hollywood.
but statutory
Yes.
rape.
Yes.
Which I always thought meant you were doing it when you were doing it standing up, but I guess it actually means something else.
Yes.
Okay. So
Well,
I
and
stand
it's
corrected.
yes, and it's like another thing that we have to realize is that, you know what? Now these things in Hollywood, it's like when you have to have a nude scene, you cannot have a gratuitous nude scene just for having it. A lot of actors will turn around and say, "No, I refuse." And
Yeah.
you know what? They have every right under the law to refuse.
Mm-hmm.
SAG has extreme rules also about working with kids. It has extreme rules about in terms of what you can and cannot do and get away with on screen.
Yeah.
And one of the things not to be able to do is nudity, because they'll tell you how much boobage you can show, if you can show any, from what point up can you do that. It's like for what point down, if you're going to be doing it, it's like what's considered too much on screen, and also for your NC-17 ratings as well. It's like what is considered to be acceptable amounts of all of this. Even when
Yeah.
doing a sex scene, it's like it is discussed every single move before it happens, including the little old ladies who keep pushing on the knees and stuff like that. It's like, but that's besides the point. But I digress from that. It's like, sorry, but you know what? It's like sex scenes are the most unromantic scenes to film. It's like, no, your hand needs to be there. No, it's not cupping. It's too high up on the cupping of the boobs. It's like stuff like that. It's like there are so many technicalities to it. It's just absolutely a loveless love scene.
Yeah. There is nothing romantic about a love scene in a movie. Not when you're filming it.
When filming it, yeah. The actual scene itself, absolutely, totally romantic. But
Yeah.
the filming of it, yeah, ask any actors. It's like, oh my God, did you feel like absolutely that the room moved when you were being positioned for the 20th time because the shadow is falling across your face that way?
Yeah.
And it's like, how many times was he having to be on top? It's like crushing the living being out of you while we were getting the angle right. And did we have the photo doubles there? And a lot of sets, by the way, also right now, in terms of sex scenes, in terms of nudity and all of that, become closed sets, which is another clause that has come in too. It's
Yeah.
like this scene probably was done before a live crew, who also eyewitnessed this. Now, my question is that why was there never any charges brought by the AMPTP or any of the other organizations, or the producers of the film, as well as also the ratings organizations? That has yet to be answered as a question, because they literally tortured somebody and raped them, and there was no, other than like, bad, you're now an X-rated movie. There was
Yeah.
really no consequence to them in Hollywood, which talks of a double standard, really. Had it been somebody else, that it's like, during today's day and age, he would never have been directing again. Or if he would have, it would have been one of those things of, okay, stay away from that person. And this is why, like we said, we deplore last week them to say names like that.
Yep.
to get rid of these kinds of predators in Hollywood. If you're directing, there is movies that have an artistic purpose, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, there are movies that have a direct reason as to why you need to be nude, or a direct reason as to why you have a love scene, or it's like a fight scene, or any of these other things. There are direct things. But you have to have the writers and clauses that go along with them. The actor has to be fully informed of what is going to be happening to them and how they are going to be portrayed, and a truthful answer of how they are going to be portrayed.
And why it has to be that particular type of a scene to, why does it have to be that type of a scene in this movie? What is the significance of it, that it has to be nude, or there has to be a sex scene in this? That all gets explained out, why that is a critical part of the movie,
Yes.
or why it needs to be in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it has to also be very detailed, and as detailed in writers of the contract that can go pages and pages and pages long.
Yes. And I have to give Stanley Kubrick some credit. When he made A Clockwork Orange, he could have gone way over the top. But, yes, there was a lot of sex. Yes, there was a lot of violence. But it was all for a reason, and it was never too over the top.
Yeah. He held enough restraint.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's the whole thing. And also, actors have the right, as I said, in this times, to be able to say, no, not going to do it.
Yeah.
It does not serve a purpose. I'm not going to do it. It's why you talk about it with your actor, the scene ahead of time, and you talk about to them their comfort level. And if you really want a genuine reaction like that, you know what? Show them a little creature that's above them. Well, this is happening.
Yeah.
Dangle a mouse above somebody. Trust me, you'll get a scream.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a fake spider coming down from the ceiling at the right moment would definitely get a scream out of, most anybody.
Yeah. Even during that kind of thing, it's like you'd be like, oh God, no. That will get you your genuine reaction without having to endanger your talent.
Right.
There are lots of tricks that you can use. Let's hope that nobody ever adopts those ones ever again.
Yes.
From that movie.
Well, you have to stop and think about when you. It's like, since this has been brought up, is movies in that particular era that were being done, and there were other movies that had pretty intense, rape scenes and things in them. It's like, did those actresses know the full extent of what was going to happen? I comes to mind. You talk about there was a very, intense rape scene. I can't think of the movie now, but yeah, or the actress. I mean, I see her. I know who it is, but I can't think of the name. She was attacked on a pinball machine. There's like three different guys.
Oh, Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster, yes. Oh my gosh.
In The Accused, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Is like, you have to wonder in that movie, because that was a very intense scene. Did she know everything?
Since she directed it, I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, she knew that was going to happen.
Okay.
No, she didn't direct that one.
Oh, she didn't direct that one? Oh.
No.
Surprise, Jodie!
Well, no, it wasn't those surprise things, though, but they did talk about it. It's like in a lot of detail with her.
Yeah. And she wanted to do the rape scene because she felt it was important, because she had been raped as a child actress.
Attemptedly, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
She was attemptedly raped by someone who had tried to lure her there when her parents weren't around, under the guise of that she missed an audition.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about this in an interview, and I was like, that's why I said knows the name and yet says nothing.
Yeah.
It's another one that it's like I have to say it. Shame on her. Shame on anybody who doesn't say the names.
Yep.
Then you allow them to continue to this behavior. Because what do you and like I said the last time, what are you protecting them for?
Yeah, don't be. It's like don't point fingers if you're not going to say names.
Yeah. And if you know the name and you could stop a crime, why don't you? It's like, is it that much of a, you know, game changer that to allow that? Will it be that detrimental to your career? I don't think so. Because a lot of it's like, for example, with Angelina Jolie, she has a very solid career, all on her own. It's like she's very well established. I highly doubt that suddenly they're going to be like, oh, well, we can't use you in anything. Like, for crying out loud, it's like, people have done a hell of a lot worse and still work in this industry.
Yeah, I don't think that would get her blackballed unless unless the fingers she were pointing at and naming happen to be the studios that she works for.
And even so, if it's the studios that she works for, then they need to be cleaned up. That reputation needs to be absolutely cleaned up. Which brings us, though, in transition, speaking of cleaning up, to our next story, talking about Lord of the Flies Ocean's 8, how Hollywood reboots are flipping gender. This was done in an article in The Guardian, as well as also several other ones, of talking about the fact that they are doing a lot of, when they are doing remakes, they're switching genders. Now, okay, yes, we heard the whole entire argument, female Ghostbusters, etc., etc. Now, with these movies, it's like, do you think that some of them work by flipping genders, or are we going, then now to a, okay, are they reworking it entirely, or nah, that doesn't sound like it's going to work?
Well, there's no reason why it can't work on some films. There are some films that I feel very strongly that it will not work for. And one of those films, as you and I have discussed a couple of weeks ago, is The Lord of the Flies.
Yes. It was a coming of age story of little boys in the wilderness on this island.
Yes. And creating their own very hostile society.
Yes. And a hierarchical society about of dealing with patriarchy. So yes.
Yeah. And I just don't see girls doing something like that.
I can see it, and I can also not see it. It's like, in terms of that, I can see it because it's like, if it's done in a clever, strategic manner to be able to honor the first one, but in a different kind of way to be handled.
I mean, I could see where, switching it from whether the film was originally, it's like boys or men, or, girls or women. I could see where you do the flip the gender, but, and it might go a little bit different direction with the movie, but there are some, I agree with Arpo.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some films that you can't take if it was, you're going to lose a lot of the meaning of the film if it was, guys who in the first film and you want to switch it to girls, or if it was girls in the first film and you want to switch it to guys. It's going to lose a lot of the meaning of the original film. So I don't think you can. I don't think every film could be gender swapped
Not
and
every. No.
and it still be a good film.
No, and it's interesting though that it's like that the when you look at it, because it's like it depends on if they're trying to do this as an independent take on that film, or if they're trying to do it as like, okay, well, if it worked for it, it's like, well, then we'll just flip it on its ear for another gender. It's like, as it's like certain movies wouldn't fly in terms of genres with it. It's like, you know, I would say Little Darlings wouldn't ever work as a film with two guys at summer camp.
No.
Which one is going to lose their virginity first?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it might.
Depends on
It's like,
how it was handled.
right. Depends on. It's like a lot of it is, if they just flipped the script and did it with guys instead of girls. Um, it might still fly and still get the same meaning possibly, but it would have to be. You like you said, you'd have to make sure that it was, you'd have to change some of the film
Yeah.
to make it come out to get the same kind of feeling or results, or yeah, I'm feeling would be the right word. Get uh, the same
Emotion.
feeling, emotional feeling
Yeah.
from the movie, whether it was boys or whether it was girls.
Yes. And that's the whole thing, is that, okay, if Lord of the Flies, the way that they're doing it is a little bit of a different take on it in terms of cleverness, or with Ocean's 8, okay, I understand you're talking the original one, which was, first of all, Ocean's 11, I believe, right? With
Yeah,
Sammy Davis
Yeah,
Jr. and, yeah,
yeah.
so calling it Ocean's 8 is also a very interesting thing, because maybe there's talking about it as a precursory story to the Ocean's 11. Or maybe that it's like, because I have not seen any previews for this, so I'm not sure how they're actually looking at this. They're maybe having a fresh take on it. It's like it's one of those things of, we don't get enough information to understand, but yet at the same time, it's like it's talking about the works of feminism. A Twister wasn't exactly rapturous either. An all-women remake of The Lord of the Flies makes no sense because the plot of the book wouldn't happen in all women, tweeted like Roxanne Gray. Basically, she's saying it's very faithful, but like a various adaptation, a compromised adaptation. So what she's saying is exactly that. The book Lord of the Flies, as we said, is extremely violent and stuff, and it's like there's a fun that they're talking about. There's a slew of films that are being branded reverse out, like things like Ocean's 11 heist branded, added Ocean's 8, an all females cast, a lineup of heavyweights, the Rat Pack originals, like that in the original version. Switching them out for George Clooney and Brad Pitt will now be switched out for things like Rihanna and Anne Hathaway. So again, you're looking at it from, okay, it depends on how they do the clever plotting
right.
of
I
whether it
agree.
will
On
work.
something like Ocean's 8, yes. On something like Ghostbusters, yes.
Yes.
But, I mean, temporizing The Lord of the Flies with the girls.
Yeah.
Flies was meant partially to be an allegory about World War II. In fact, technically, it took place during World War
Yeah.
II.
Yes.
And, these schoolboys essentially set up their own Third Reich,
Yeah.
the more violent ones, and lord it over the weaker ones, and feel that it's okay to kill the weaker ones because they're not going to survive anyway, and all they're doing is taking food from us. Well, we are, we're the mighty, we're the right, we're the ones who should be allowed to live. So,
Yeah.
we are exiling them, and if we catch them stealing food, we'll kill them.
Yeah. Forms of Darwinism.
Yeah.
Right.
Survival of the fittest.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
And
it's like,
it's interesting that it's actually the geekier boy who eventually gets them rescued by tending a signal fire.
yes.
But then they're rescued by a ship which has been in war, and one of the sailors on the ship. Now, this was in the book. I don't remember if this was in the movie or not. But one of the sailors on the ship, when he sees how savage these boys have become, is just utterly shocked and left speechless by the fact that these children had become so feral on
Mm-hmm.
this island.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think a lot of that is going to get lost in the translation.
Well, it's quite possible in regards to it. It's like it wouldn't have been my first choice of female-led movies, but female-led movies are very profitable in terms of that. But yet at the same time, what it will do is if it becomes one of those things that, okay, well, we're going to flip everything on there, what you might do is lose momentum for what you're talking about is in terms of female empowerment movies. Because if everything becomes a female empowerment movie, like, and I'm not saying that, and like I said, as a female, I'm all for female empowerment movies. But it's the going to the extreme of the opposite of going, okay, to the exclusion of that there are certain works that only do work with a certain gender.
Yeah.
Without adaptation. It's like, and it's the way that book particularly was. It would be, as I said, gosh, if I had to have a female equivalent of it, it would be like trying to there isn't really okay, if I had to take like a Judy Blume book, like Dear God Is Me, Margaret, there isn't a male equivalent to that I am
You mean you
aware
couldn't
of.
do Dear God, It's Me, Marcus?
Yeah, exactly. It would be a different thing. Well, I suppose that you could, but it would have a different kind of plotting. It's like there are different, like I said, it's not a matter of that you couldn't adapt these things. And by all means, it's like if it's done cleverly, so. But there are certain works that, you know what, it's like, is it to prove a point? Or is it to actually further a story into another story?
I mean, if you can take the original and, gender swap it and still come out with the same emotional feeling at the end of it, like you say, it's like you could, then theoretically it should, it should be, if the first one was a good movie, the second one should be a good movie, even though you swapped gender, it should still be a good movie if you can stick with the original feeling of the movie, and like you say, kind of re-script it a little bit, change things around a little bit, so that you get at the end at the beginning of the movie you get the same little heart tug or whatever, and in the middle you get this little heart twinge, and then at the end you get the same little heart twinge. If you can match the beginning, middle, and the end of the film in emotional feelings, then if the first one was good, then the second one should be good.
It should and it shouldn't. And then yet at the same time, I've often said, it's like, isn't it about time we give up on the redos? It could fail for a different reason of its power of redo.
Right.
Because again, not everything has the reason to be redone. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you know what? I'm probably one of the minorities who were like, okay, I wasn't unhappy with the new Ghostbusters. Sorry if that upsets anyone, and it's like in the Ghostbuster world. I understand. Yes, it's like it was undefined, but it wasn't so horrendously horrible that it made me go, oh my god, what the hell are they doing? And it wasn't because they were females. It was because it was bad plotting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it had nothing to do with them being females. It had to do with a horrendous plot it's like I'm not sure where the director was going with that. So yeah, when it comes down to that, you have to look at it and say, okay, is it just like when you're doing most remakes, are you doing it because you just don't you feel it's a safe bet, or that you think that you could do a different twist on it? And if you can do a different twist on it, I caution with some stories that it's like, are you just doing it to prove a point, or are you doing it because you really do have a different take an angle on it? It would be like asking a all-male cast to do something that was a female-related movie. Are you doing it just to prove a point? And it's like, I am all for, like I said, I love, like I said, I'm one of the people I loved Wonder Woman. It definitely was all about female empowerment in terms of that. It's like, and it kills me that James Cameron to this day is still touting that that bullshit nonsense of, oh well, that took a step backwards for women. It's like, really? Did you watch the movie? Were you actually watching the same movie that the rest of us were watching? The $500 million film? Because
You know what it is? I think he accidentally stumbled into the porn theater and saw Blunder Woman.
oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I don't really hold much weight to somebody whose last movie was Dances with Wolves in Space,
Yes.
otherwise known as Avatar. It really doesn't hold that much weight to me of that. So as far as that goes, okay. Now, that being said, do I hate the fact that it's like we would be having a redo of a movie? To me, it's about the redo of the movie. It's not to me about the fact that it's like, you're replacing genders. If you have a fresh take on the movie, go for it. But if you have a fresh take, then you could say it's based on something like Lord of the Flies, but it is a female cast of a different nature. Different time, different space. I haven't seen what this new redo is all about.
And another thing, Jackie said, should we have a rule that whoever has the conch gets to speak? So no one gets interrupted. But who, ventured Simone, is here to interrupt us? It was true. There was no one. They left the conch on the beach. Later, when they were rescued, the group agreed that Mora should take it home, since she was so crafty and could probably do something neat with it. Mora painted it seafoam green and used it to store jewelry, which eventually inspired her to open her own Etsy shop, which was moderately successful.
See?
This is from the New Yorker. It's called Excerpts from the All-Girl remake of Lord of the Flies.
And it sounds like then they've done some sort of interesting twist to it.
Staggered out of the woods, her hair matted and muddy. She wore a crude garment that she had fashioned out of leaves, and her eyes were wild. "Simone," cried Roger, "I love your dress." "Thank you," Simone said, gesturing. "It has pockets." And that, concluded Sam, is how Matt Damon broke up with Minnie Driver on Oprah. Ralphie wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of a man's heart, and how she would never watch Good Will Hunting the same way ever again.
Interesting.
This is this is them being humorous.
Yes.
Yes. The
Yep.
very funny article, NewYorker.com.
Yep. And what they're basically saying is that female movies are bankable. They are very bankable. It's like in terms of movies, but it's got to be good movies. And in their clever, humorous way, they're trying to say it's like, okay, you're trying to take a plot that exists from a classic novel and trying to maybe go a bridge too far.
Yes.
So it remains to be seen. Hopefully, when this movie comes out, we will all see it and judge for ourselves.
And determine
Yes.
whether they did it or didn't do it.
Yep. But like I say, that certain movies should not be remade, but for only the reason that I'm sorry, they're perfectly fine as they are.
Yes, and there is no denying that the Lord of the Flies is a classic.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
You see, to me, it's like, as I said, Lord of the Flies is classic. Lord of the Rings is classic, and yet at the same time, I am part of the minority opinions, but it is true. They really should not have made them into live action movies, as far as I was concerned. The 1976 version that they had was perfectly fine.
Yes.
With the hobbits looking like Tetley Tea folk.
Yes. No, actually, Bakshi, I thought, did a wonderful job with that film.
Oh, he did.
It was really effective to watch. It was animation was mind staggering.
It was, and it's like I absolutely loved it. I was like, okay, mind was officially blown when watching it. Why they did a live action version, I will never know. But mind you,
Because
again,
they could.
Yes, exactly. Because Peter Jackson wanted it. And so therefore, whether you like it or not, and as I said, I'm not a fan. Sorry, Hobbit folks, but yet another movie that it's like I would have rather just they stay with the nice cartoon.
A user-friendly cartoon.
Yes. And one I would love to own on DVD someday.
I believe that's coming out next week.
The animated version?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. And I shall own it.
I think he's funding you.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't tell her. No.
I know. No, it's like, unfortunately, it's very hard to find. That's an Amazon item.
But it'll be out next week.
Mm-hmm. Are you shipping it to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of like the same thing as like the checks in the mail,
Okay.
Just watch your mailbox. It'll be there.
Yeah.
But if you take your eye off your mailbox even for a second, it won't show up.
That's right.
So yes, you must continue to watch the mailbox, or the universal karma will not work.
Yep.
Yes.
So therefore, there you go. It's like, so folks, it's like it will remain to be seen about these movies. And as I say, it's not about whether it's female or male that are in the role. It's, do we really need another remake?
Yeah.
No, what we need is some new content.
Yes.
Speaking of which, have you seen Will and Grace is coming back to NBC this fall?
Yes. Apparently, they lack other work.
Well, Sean Hayes hasn't starred in a successful series. since Will and Grace. Megan Mullally's been doing her thing on Broadway.
Yes, and doing a really damn good job of it.
Yes. I don't know about Eric McCormick, but I do know. Oh God, what's her name?
I thought he was on like Criminal Minds or something, or some sort of show like that, or
He
did
could
like
have. He could be.
yeah, some sort of series that. I know that she did the Mysteries of Laura for a while.
Yeah. But also, Sean Hayes has been doing a lot of behind the camera work as a producer. He was one of the producers, in fact, of Grimm, which just ended.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why it's coming back. Sean Hayes needed a new job. Grimm was over.
Could
Possible.
be.
And it's like, speaking of onset, it brings us to our third and final article, which is a really nice, light, and happy one. Thank you again, Indie Film Hustle, for this article, which is called The 20 Film Terms You Need to Survive on Set. Did you know that there was 20 terms?
Well, I knew the most important term, that you want to know if you want to survive on set, is quiet.
Yes, quiet on the set. Let's go through these, shall we?
Oh yes.
Let's shall go through them.
Okay. Number 1, MOW. What do we think that MOW means?
MOW.
Yep.
Move over, woman.
I don't know. It's like I like to move over, woman, or it's like mind over waffles.
Okay, it used to be movie of the week, but in this particular case, it also means make your own way. In other words, actors are going to be MOW, making their own way to the set. Or crew are going to be making their own way to the set. So in other words, you don't need to pick them up that day.
Oh. Wow. I'll just stay home if I don't have my driver.
Yeah. Crew call.
I can't make the movie without me.
It's like, well, the other thought for MOW was, massively out of wine.
Yes. Majorly out of wine.
Majorly out of wine, yes.
Yes, but not particularly on-set jargon.
Okay.
Number 2, crew call.
That's what I'm going to be getting after the hurricane.
It's like the crew call is what you get after you get a crew cut.
Yeah, well, crew call is the time that that the crew is brought to set. It's like that is our time that we come on our way for the schedule to begin the day.
And most of the time, unless there's major makeup involved, it's before the actors.
Yeah, crew call is when you have to be there.
This one is a fairly new thing. That there's a whole East Coast, West Coast thing of this. Unit base or base camp? What do you think that means?
It means we're never going to get to the top of Everest.
Unit base or base camp?
Yep.
Unit base, would that be it's like where you're supposed to be at onset, and the unit base would be the offices?
It's the place where the makeup trucks and all of that. We also have known it as Trailer Village, because that's where you have the makeup trailer, the hair trailers, the AD trucks, the craft trucks around that area.
I'm not getting any of these.
Yeah, it's like, so that is a term that you would need to know about. Base camp, where is it? Or unit base, depends on if you're East Coast, West Coast. Apparently, there's like an East Coast, West Coast thing with this.
So
know that.
If you're
great. So you get New York actors making a movie in LA, they're not going to know where to go.
Exactly.
So in other words, the East Coast, West Coast. East Coast would be
unit base.
Unit base, and West Coast would be the
base camp.
Base camp. Okay.
Yep. So this one is an interesting term. Resi.
Say what?
RECCE.
Recce.
Reci.
Recce. I know what recce is.
What is it?
Recce is when you're getting a good look around at the area to see what's there. That's what a recce is. I've seen enough British war movies to know, Missy.
Yeah, well, sorry, but no, that really isn't. It's visiting a location before shooting commences, where you plan to work through any issues that arise from the location. Basically, a location scouting thing. It's like with multiple location Reese's. They have places in pre-production with the heads of department that come with you to waste no time during the shoot. So there
I
you go.
believe that was what I said. Taking a look around the place to see what's there.
Yeah,
Recce.
well, in this place, in this particular thing, it's like scouting should have been the word, but I guess that they have a newfangled word for it.
Yes. Well, actually, recce is a very old word.
Yes.
It's from I think it's from World War One.
Yep.
Actually.
Okay. So. Here's number 5. Craft services or crafties.
That's where the food is.
Indeed, they are the food people. The oasis in the desert of boring equipment trucks. The craft food truck, otherwise known as your sustenance of life.
Yes. I knew that one.
It is where all my coffee will be coming from.
Uh-oh.
Except for Tim Hortons.
It's like the crafty is food. I know food.
Yes. You know, it's like, so yes. Runner.
Well, it's easy to remember. All you have to think is Kraft. That's where they keep the mac and cheese.
Exactly. But in this particular case, it's like more than just mac and cheese. Your sustenance of life. Blood comes from there. Runner. What do we think that a runner is?
A guy who can go really, really fast. He's the guy who goes from the producer down to the director to tell the director how to shoot the movie, and then the director sends it back up to the producer to tell him to go shove himself up his own ass.
And then goes and gets the coffee and brings coffee to both of them.
There you go. But in this particular case, it's like we called them the on-set PAs, or for other people, my assistant. Runners are the most junior position on a film, managed by the office. Runners transport stuff between production office and set. They also pick up anything that is needed. Basically, they are your office runners. They are not here to pick up dry cleaning unless you are the producer. And it even says that unless you're the producer, but they can be great in organizing any pickups, deliveries departments may have. Get friendly with runners, and they'll be able to help you out in so many ways. Basically, they're the go-between between the production office and the set. In other words, sometimes
that's kind of what I said.
Yeah. Including the picking up the dry cleaner thing.
But so I was being a little too specific, but that's so come on, somebody back me up here, Maxine. That was what I said, wasn't it?
Number 7 on our list, pre-call. Anybody want to go for that one, pre-call?
That's the really early calls, like when the actors have to have like a lot of special makeup, or It's very early in the morning, and nobody likes to do it.
Okay, pre-call is the beginning call for even before the actors are even so much as there. That's call time, when the actors are supposed to be there to start doing it. Pre-call is those people who come into the village to set up the trailer village. They're the people of the departments and individuals that their call time is earlier than the crew call. They're basically the craft service people who show up and start making you your brekkie and stuff. And to be sure to check your actual call time rather than the crew call, which is also a lot of times pre-call. as your crew call. And it may be different. It's always embarrassing to receive a call from your boss while you're still in bed. So make sure that, and sometimes when you put in turnaround, you have a pre-call still. So don't think you get out of it just by doing that. New deal, number 8. Anybody
New
want to?
deal?
Yeah,
New
new deal.
deal.
Well, that was FDR Olaf. You probably know that better than me.
It's like a new deal is different than the old deal.
Okay,
It's a new deal.
Aha! A new deal, moving the new camera setup for a scene. The director and all involved are happy to take the new deal, which is called calling out by the ADs. In other words, set move. We're moving to a different place. We're moving to a different setup.
Okay.
So
It's a new deal.
new jargon, new deal. Okay, flag on the play. Number 9, flag on the play.
It's like
Anybody
that
That's
happens.
when they
That
really
happens to you a
stop
lot,
the
Arpo. Go for that.
Yeah, that's when they really have to stop the football game to do a beer commercial.
Right.
Okay. In this particular case, though, it's after calling a new deal or moving on, then someone realizes that we just didn't finish everything there on that take. So flag on the play means stop. Whoa, we're not moving, Jack. We have Houston. There is a problem. Let's not do this. And so we don't move everything before moving forward. It's like this is why you check the gate first before you move forward. And you also check your coverage before you move forward. It's like that's why people stand there for like 2 minutes hoping that you got room tone and everything was covered. Because otherwise you're going, we have to be here another day. Okay, per diem. Everybody should know what per diem is.
Per diem.
Oh,
I know. I got that one. I know
Go for it.
That's the per diem is what the actors get for their food. The money they get for their food.
It is the
So that's the allotment they get each day for their food.
Or personal needs, yes.
Or
and not
personal
just the actors.
Yep.
The crew gets a per diem, too.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody gets per diem.
Everybody loves per diem.
Yes. It varies from set to set of how rich the show is or how poor the show is, because some per diems are very generous. There are minimums that you have to comply with, but then there are maximuses that, like, sometimes the set will be a little bit generous on their per diems.
Yes. It's like getting a little bonus every day.
Now, this one was one that kind of, 10-100 or 10-1. What do you think that is?
Oh, good God, you're going back to CB language. 10-100 is location. What's your location?
No, that's a 20.
That's your 20. What's your 20?
What's your 20? I mean, this is what's your location?
Yeah, 10-100 or 10-1.
It's like 10-100. Oh my God. Jeez, I forgot. It's like I've forgotten my codes.
Yeah, 10-100 or 10-1 is I have to take a pee-pee break.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, we get to go to the bathroom.
Except on our set, it's going to be called a Sid Haig.
Yes. But thank you, Sid. We still want you back on our show.
Yes. We don't mean that as an insult, so we mean that as an honor.
Yes, it has been named after you. Okay, the lot, number 12.
That's where the lot is, where the film is at. Your
The studio.
Studio lot.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Hot set, number 13.
I know what that is. It's like hot set is do not enter. We are filming.
Very good. Yahoo! It's like
Sure, he keeps interrupting me on the ones I know.
Okay, here's one for you, Arpo. Hot brick, number 14.
That's a piece of adobe that just came out of the kiln.
Close, but it's a fully charged battery on there. It's like we have hot bats. What we call them is hot bats, but hot bricks. Okay.
I kind of I didn't really know what that was, but I was kind of leaning towards the hot battery.
Yep, it's like basically that's when it's like the PA is coming and they take up the colds and bring in the hots. Or when you stand in the middle of the yard going, are these cold or hot? But that's a different story. Okay, number 15, DFI.
Didn't find Irene.
It says, Arpo, any guesses at what DFI is?
Director fucked it up.
Don't feel inferior.
Don't follow instructions. Stand down. Don't do what I just told you to do. Something has changed, so it's not needed anymore. Stand by is the new for new instructions. So someone telling you to DFI after they've just given you an instruction again
Stop
is
doing
not
what you're
saying
doing.
don't. It's again not saying don't do that. It's saying stand by for further information.
Yeah. Stop doing it until you hear more about it.
Exactly. So I think so. It's we as film professionals calling it like highly skilled individuals. In other words, stand by. Don't move. Even though I've given you these instructions, don't do it quite yet. We're doing a DFI. Here's a fun one.
So it kind of goes along with the what I said. Don't feel inferior.
Yes,
Okay.
it does. Sure, we'll go with we'll go with that. We'll give you half a point for that one. A cookie's waiting for you.
There you go.
Olaf, I just want to point out, have you noticed that, for my article that we discussed tonight, I sent you a copy of it, but for her articles, we're sitting out here in the cold again, shivering, freezing our balls off.
She likes doing that to us, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yep.
I think it's called putting us on the spot.
Yes. Number 16, Cowboys.
Putting us on the hot seat, huh?
Yep.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
It's like, yeah, it's like, yeehaw, Cowboys.
Number 16, it's a set term.
They're the guys who make sure that the riders are all in place.
It's probably what we best know as a three-quarter shot. It's a shot that's framed just above the knees of the subject.
What does that have to do with cowboys?
Apparently a new term.
Okay.
I've never heard of cowboy shots. Nor would I use one.
Nor would I drink one.
No. If I want to do a three-quarter shot, then I'll do a three-quarter shot. But why would I call it a cowboy?
I would go with more along the lines of saying, what's like a cowboy would be more of a wrangler who would work with the celebrities, work with the actors as like a wrangler.
Yeah.
During a cattle call, especially.
Okay. Now there are 4 terms here that they're missing one term that you really, really need to know. So I'm going to call it 21 terms that you should know. But number 17 is blocking.
Okay, now that's easy. That's where the actors move on the set.
Yes, they work with the cast, and they also work with the stand-ins. They do they deal with the lightings. DP is there to help out with that sort of thing. Okay, so now there are 3 ones. This is where I'm going to add the new one in here after number 19. Number 18, Abbey shot, or called Abbey Singer shot sometimes, but Abbey shot. It's the Abbey.
It's like an overhead shot.
It's a shot that takes place in front of a church.
Both it does have to do with the shot, but it's the second to last setup of the day, the Abbey. It's basically the second to last setup on there. Then there is the martini shot. What do you think the martini shot is?
That's the last shot.
That's the last shot.
of the day. That's an easy one.
That's the last shot of the day.
That's the last setup of the day. The window, which is the one that you're going to want to know, the window is the last shot.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So
the martini shot is the last setup. The window is the actual last shot.
Yeah. Just like you know what the money shot is. Money shot is like the shot that is like going to make the money.
That's the shot that is definitely going into the movie.
Yeah, it's the most important shot of the whole thing. That's the money shot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, of course, number 21, which is called the wrap.
That's the end of everything.
Yes. That's when you call a wrap. It's like, but you have to understand, are we calling a wrap on the actor? Are we calling a wrap on the day? Are we calling a wrap on the scene?
That's a wrap.
Because, yeah. You can't only say that's a wrap. It's like it's a wrap on scene 12. We're moving on to scene 14.
If you're going to say the word, got to know what it means. It could be the day or it could be the scene. But whatever it is, don't be upset. This is what we call the movie wrap.
There you go. And then it's like here are some bonus terms that they have.
No. Wait a minute before we go farther. So Arpo normally I would say don't quit your day job, but in your case I'm going to say quit your day job and get some rap lessons.
Yes, there you go. Unwrap your wrappings.
Hey, I'm white. What's Vanilla Ice's excuse?
Okay, carry on.
He had a big album. I don't know. So basically, also when you're talking about rapping, it's rapping on an actor. If there's like that's a rap on this on the character, pretty much saying bye bye actor, or thank you very much for your wonderful, amazing performance, and now we take you to the airport, and don't that kind of thing. If you're having a rap on the scene, obviously we're setting up for a new scene, and a day rap. So you have to understand what the wrap is of the day. Okay, so some of the bonuses here. Turnaround. What do you think the turnaround is?
It's like, how long is it going to take you to turn it around? How long is it going to take you to do it?
Turnaround also deals with the amount of hours between the time that you are finished, wrapped for the day, and the time that you're coming back tomorrow.
And I'm going to give you a little hint. It's usually less than 8.
Well, it's supposed to be 8, but yes, sometimes it does wind up being less than 8. It depends also. Some people, they get put in turnaround. What it means is that we really need to have you here. We're going to hotel you for the night, or you can go home if you happen to be it happens to be a local shoot. Go home, go get a few like 2-3 hours of sleep, come back here, and we're putting you in turnaround. Now, turnaround is a lovely thing. Turnaround means usually triple time for a lot of us folk that get it, and it makes for a very happy paycheck to lose 1 day of sleep, of full sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I was put in turnaround one time, and I was exhausted, but I so loved it, because when I saw the paycheck at the end of it, I was like, can I be put turnaround more often? But at the same time, you also have to learn one thing. If you're also in a distant location, one of the rules of thumb is you need to be able to offer a place to sleep for the night if you're in a distant location. In other words, what they call a distant location is more than a half hour to an hour away from what would be your actual home destination or hotel destination. So if we're out of the city, for example, and we have a hotel in the city.
The cots are in the corrugated tin building on the other side of those trees.
Yeah.
And,
unfortunately,
the producer has been digging a latrine.
Yes, there you go.
Yes, like, it's called.
Please feel free to use it, even if he hasn't finished yet.
It's called RV. RV. That
Yes.
takes care of all of it.
So now there's another term, MOS. Mit out sound, meaning like as in the recording is unusable for that take. Which means that, for example, you're in the middle of there and you don't really have a lockup because there's a airplane that flew overhead.
Right.
The train went by.
And an airplane flew overhead, and since your movie takes place in 1872, you got a problem.
Yep.
Well, it's like no, that you can work that out. Just say it was the Wright brothers testing their plane.
Yep. And here's one that I've not heard of,
or Da Vinci playing around. Yeah, go ahead.
Which is NDB.
NDB?
Yeah, non-deductible break. I.e., like the free breakfast given to you to align everyone's meal penalty periods. Basically, why you also have substantials as you're in between. It's like you go back to school and you have that snacky in between your breakfast and lunch.
My school never did that.
Yeah.
My school was mean.
I know, they used to do the same thing with us, but yep, on sets you do.
Wow.
What do you think, Olaf? Would you want an NDB?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the set they actually do have breakfast, second breakfast,
No.
luncheon, dinner, tea.
Lunch,
supper.
second lunch, supper, second supper.
What it is breakfast, substantials, lunch, second substantial, supper, and then second. It's like if you go into really major overtime, second meal.
AKA the midnight snack. Uh-huh.
So to speak.
As long as I'm getting food, I'm good.
Good. Yes, I like to feed people. Now there's this. Now these last two terms, I'm sure that you've both heard. Meal penalty.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's evil. That's when you make the actors work too long before they get their food. Gets them all grumpy, out of shape, and they report it to their managers, and the managers say, now you have to pay them extra because their meal was late.
And believe me, it's like if you have ACTRA members and SAG members, they will put you down to the second of when their meal was supposed to be.
Yep.
And you will have an Oslo breathing up your butt faster than you can say Jack Sprat, going, why were they in meal penalty? Why were they? It's like, I'm sorry, why you couldn't break a meal 1 second early? Because we were still shooting. There is, however, a clause that deals with if you are still shooting that very same scene, you have the right within a certain period of time to finish the scene before they go into a meal penalty.
Yes.
So
in other words, they can't stop in the middle of the scene and say, yo, lunchtime. They do have to wait till the director says cut.
Yes. And the other one, pictures up. Everybody knows that one.
That's
that always. It's like I just cringe when I hear pictures up, because that means somebody's got the picture I didn't want anybody to see, and it's already up on the web.
There you go. But in our particular case, pictures up is about to roll. We're going to actually do a take this time. This isn't. We're not faking this one. Wow. We're not going through a rehearsal. This is for reals. And for the blooper reel, especially if we screw up.
Yes.
So, by the way, the person we have to thank for all of this is called. His name is called Matt Webb, and he's the author of Set Life: A Guide to Getting a Job on Film, and keeping it. So he's the one who did this book that gave us these terms, and of course, the final one being rolling. We all know what that means.
Yeah, that's what I say when I take off. Rolling.
Yep. That too.
It means the film is rolling.
Yep. And they'll go
So
like pictures.
everybody shut the hell up.
Yes. It's like pictures up, sounds up, rolling. Means everybody do not move. I don't care if you think you have to go to 10-100. You're going to hold it for the 2 minutes that we're rolling.
And Richard, if you have one of your sneezing jags, you're fired.
Exactly. You see, your boss will do that to you, or put you in the corner for about a 60-minute break, going, "I will not sneeze again. I will not sneeze again. I will not sneeze again." Make you write it on the walls. I will not sneeze again.
Or when it comes to that really quiet scene, everything has to be really quiet. And unfortunately, you got the tacos or you got the burritos off the craft services line, and unfortunately, you break wind. Oh,
Yes.
kind of like the weather guy who broke wind on TV
Yes.
during his broadcast. Oops.
Yeah, nothing could have been more funny, though, than Cullen Fior's incident during Hamlet.
To be or not to be. Oops.
Yeah. He was
Definitely not to
yes.
be.
Yeah, it's like
We've settled that one now.
it's like my favorite one. Unfortunately, on that very same performance, it's like they kind of drop the coffin, and all you hear is "oops," and it was like, "Oops."
You okay, Freddie? Oops. Drop the coffin. You okay, Freddie? Sorry. Oops.
Oh, you want to hear something really cruel? When Ragtime was playing on Broadway, the funeral scene at the end of Act 1,
Mm-hmm.
they had Sarah. You know, she's in
Yes.
the coffin. She's dead. One of the stagehands put his pager in the coffin, right where
Wow.
a particular part of her body was going to be.
Oh no.
And then they kept dialing it all through the number.
Oh God.
That's what you would call a on-set prank.
Yes. I have to imagine she wasn't too thrilled about it.
After the scene was over, who the hell put their damn pager in here?
Oh no. Yep. So these are just some of the terms that you need to know when you're on set. It's like, feel free to pick up that book because obviously it's a pretty good one. Oh my goodness. It's like, and hopefully we'll be getting Ben Yenny very soon because apparently he was live a little while back to do a great video about Production Now. Production Next.
Yes.
So
Which is an outstanding piece of computer software for those of you who have not heard of it.
Which Ben will be able to announce more information about that. He is doing the launch for us. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen,
Is this what we call a wrap?
our wrap. So now we are on the Abby shot. Olaf, how do we get you in social media?
Well, you can stalk me on both Facebook and Twitter at Olaf Barbosa, but just don't stalk too close because I do get nervous and I do have an itchy trigger finger.
Excellent.
And Arpo, how do we get you in social media? Other than if you're still alive, that is.
Yes. Well, if you want to be social, you can reach me on Facebook. If you want to be talk some business, check me out on LinkedIn. And if you just want to, chat with a fairly intelligent fellow, you can always feel free to Skype me. You can always feel free to Skype me, but just make sure you let me know that you're a fan of Movietime, because I get too many requests from Armenian girls looking to get married and robots who want my charge card number. God damn it, I think WC's honking the horn out there again. I left them in the car.
Well, I have an announcement also in the meantime. Please feel free to go to Eventbrite and pick up your tickets for the fundraiser that is coming up. I am going to now shamelessly plug. We are having a fundraiser on October 28th. Yes, the tickets have gone on sale. It's like we are looking to have extremely wonderful guests on there, as well as our presenter will be there. It's like I can announce that we can do the announcement for that once it is official by the end of this week. Coming up.
It's someone good. It's someone great.
It is an amazing singer, an amazing and an amazing actor. So let's just put it to you that way. If you go on Eventbrite, pick up your tickets. Also, as well, if you cannot come to the event or for whatever reason, please go to our GoFundMe campaign, which is
in the event is for what?
The event will be benefiting not only the film What Did She Say, but also the monies are going towards the 8 coalitions who are warriors against human trafficking. The coalitions are Free International, We Are Free, Polaris Project. We also have Central Missouri Coalition, Stop Human Trafficking. We have CASE. We have Dreamcatcher Foundation. We have CAST LA.
And we have SELA.
And SELA. So we have 8.
But we don't have Blue Campaign anymore because they wouldn't return our phone calls.
But it's still a good cause to be able to go to.
But it's still a good cause.
Yes.
They're good people. And Blue Campaign is good people. They're really, really great. It's just a shame that they
weren't able to join us.
Yeah, they weren't able to join us. Yeah. It's too bad. And by the way, that Eventbrite, that's EVENTBRITE.
Yes.
.com.
And you look for tickets for the What Did She Say Masquerade Gala.
Yes.
Or Gala.
And
Gala.
It's like we have both VIP and general admission tickets, so there's something for everybody in affordability. And like I said, if you cannot make it to there, please go to our GoFundMe campaign or soon our Indiegogo campaign as well towards donation for this, because you know what, you too can be a warrior in this fight against human trafficking. And with that said, you can get me on LinkedIn, Bizipedia, on Facebook, on Twitter at Sonata Grayson, at Movietime Indie. Also, you can go on www.pastlivesproductionsinc.net to see more information about all of these things and everything coming up, as well as also about the movie What Did She Say? As well as you can also, as I said, with 4 pages of footprint, if you can't find me, then you're not stalking me hard enough.
I wasn't even stalking you when I found you.
Exactly. So with 4 pages, can't go wrong with that. So
I mean, she's impossible to miss, guys.
Yes.
Don't be saying you can't find her.
And definitely go aboard Eventbrite to, as I said, and go purchase some tickets. And with that being said, we will see you on Wednesday again. And thank you all for coming.
Thanks for listening.
I hope I'm here.
Don't get blown away.